Last night, a 71-year-old man quietly passed away in his sleep. No pain, no noise, just silence. It shook his family. He had seemed fine the evening before. He had eaten dinner, kissed his wife goodnight, then slipped under the covers like any other night. And by morning he was gone. A peaceful death perhaps, but a death that could have been avoided. I want to talk to you from the heart today. Not as a doctor filled with technical knowledge, but as someone who has sat by many hospital beds, held trembling hands, and looked into eyes filled with questions no science book can fully answer. What happened? Could it have been prevented? Was it just old age? Maybe. But I want to share something with you that most people overlook. Bedtime habits. Small choices we make every night that either protect our hearts and brains or slowly wear them down. Especially after 70, when the body's more vulnerable. These choices can either let us wake up stronger or keep us from waking up at all. The man who died last night had no chronic disease. He was not on the verge of anything terrible, but in the weeks leading up to his death, his sleep patterns had changed. He began doing 4 things that many people his age do without thinking. 4 bedtime habits that may seem harmless, but can deeply disturb the natural rhythm of the heart and mind. And if you are over 70, I beg you to listen to this. Not with fear, but with care. These are not guesses. They are backed by research and by stories I have seen unfold with my own eyes. The first habit he fell into was eating too close to bedtime. Late-night snacking or heavy dinner can seem innocent. But after 70, the body no longer processes food as efficiently. A study published in the journal Nutrients in 2020 showed that late-night eating significantly raises blood glucose and blood pressure levels during the night in older adults. The digestion process competes with the body's natural rest and repair cycle. The stomach stays active when it should be at peace. This stresses the autonomic nervous system, especially the parasympathetic branch, which controls heart rate and relaxation. The man had been eating dinner later, around 9 or 10 at night, and sometimes even enjoying dessert before bed. That habit alone might have pushed his heart into silent distress. Over time, the cumulative stress on his system could have caused arrhythmia, and when the heart cannot reset itself during sleep, the consequences can be final. The second habit was something many seniors fall into without noticing: sleeping with the television on. He said it helped him sleep. It distracted him from his thoughts. But the truth is, that flickering screen was slowly stealing the quality of his rest. A study conducted at Northwestern University found that even low levels of light exposure during sleep can disrupt the heart rate and increase insulin resistance overnight. The pineal gland, which produces melatonin, is sensitive to light, and melatonin is not just a sleep hormone. It is also protective for the heart and brain. Without enough of it, the body cannot enter the deeper stages of sleep. These are the phases where the brain flushes out toxins and the heart finds its natural rhythm again. When you sleep with the television on, your brain stays alert in subtle ways, never fully shutting down. For someone in their 70s, this shallow, disrupted sleep builds up cognitive stress. It weakens the mind and leaves the heart exposed. The man had gotten into the habit of watching reruns until he drifted off. He did not know his brain was being pulled in and out of light sleep. He did not know his heart never got a chance to fully rest. The third habit was perhaps the most dangerous: ignoring emotional stress before bed. He had lost an old friend 2 weeks earlier. He said he was fine. He said life goes on, but he had started going to bed with a heavy heart. He did not talk about it. He did not write about it. He just carried it silently. What we now know, thanks to a large body of research, including a 2021 study in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience, is that emotional stress in older adults can significantly disrupt autonomic balance during sleep. It raises cortisol. It increases heart rate variability in ways that are harmful. Emotional pain does not disappear just because we lie down. It follows us into our sleep. And in those quiet hours, it can become even heavier. For seniors, the connection between grief and heart health is very real. You have probably heard of broken heart syndrome. It is not just poetic. It is real and measurable. His heart might have been grieving silently while he slept, and without any outlet, without a way to ease that sorrow before bed, his body may have just decided it was too much. For seniors, bedtime must include emotional release, whether through conversation, prayer, or writing. Otherwise, what the mind does not process consciously, the body absorbs subconsciously, and it pays the price. The fourth and final habit was perhaps the most overlooked: staying too still for too long before bed. After retirement, many people fall into routines that involve sitting, reading, watching TV, knitting. These are peaceful activities, but the body needs movement, especially as we age. A lack of physical activity in the evening slows circulation. It lowers the production of sleep-promoting hormones like serotonin. A research team from Brigham and Women's Hospital published findings in Sleep Health in 2019 that showed evening movement, even light walking or gentle stretching, significantly improves sleep onset and depth in older adults. The man had stopped his evening walks during winter and never picked them back up. He spent hours in his chair, often falling asleep there before moving to bed. His muscles grew stiff, his blood moved slower, his joints ached more, and his heart, already aging, may have lacked the gentle support of oxygen-rich blood flow. Movement before bed is not about burning calories. It is about telling your body you're alive. It is about keeping circulation flowing, keeping the nervous system gently alert until it is time to rest. When the body lies too still too often, it begins to forget how to reset. I know these may seem like small things: eating late, watching TV, carrying stress, sitting too long. But aging is not about one big moment. It is about the quiet things we do daily. After 70, the body becomes a collection of habits, and these bedtime choices, repeated night after night, can either keep the heart strong or wear it down silently. This man did not mean to hurt himself. None of us do. We grow older and try to find comfort. We do what feels easy. But the truth is, the older we get, the more deliberate we must become. Sleep is not just rest. It is the body's repair time. It is when the brain clears out dead cells, when the heart regulates its rhythm, when the immune system regains its strength, and when we sabotage that sacred time with poor habits. The consequences are not always immediate, but they are real. I am not telling you this to scare you. I am telling you this because I have seen too many good people die quietly. People who could have lived longer. People who simply needed someone to sit them down and say, "You matter too much to overlook this." If you are over 70, you must protect your nights as carefully as your days. Eat your final meal at least 3 hours before bed. Keep it light and nourishing. Avoid sugar and heavy meats late at night. Dim the lights in your home as bedtime approaches. Turn off the television. Let your brain descend into quiet. Let the melatonin rise naturally. Let your heart slow without interruption. Talk to someone about what you are carrying. Speak it. Cry if you need to. Do not take grief to bed like a secret. The heart hears what the lips do not say. And before bed, move. Even just 10 minutes of walking around your home. Stretch your arms. Let your blood know it is still needed. These things matter. They are not just rituals. They are survival. I often say this to my patients. Sleep is the guardian of life after 70. The body does not heal during the day. It heals when we surrender tonight. But that surrender must be thoughtful, safe, and free of harm. The man who died last night might still be alive if someone had helped him notice these things. Maybe he would have lived another 5 years, maybe 10. I will never know, but I do know this. His story can help someone else live. So if you are listening to this or reading it and you are past 70, take this seriously. You are not fragile, but you are precious. And every night you lay your head down is an opportunity to protect your heart, to quiet your mind, to wake up again. Do not leave that to chance. You deserve mornings. You deserve time. And you deserve a sleep that heals, not one that steals. Let that be the gift you give yourself starting tonight. Can one simple change tonight add years to your life? Can one simple change tonight add years to your life? I believe it can. Not because I read it in a book or saw it in a headline, but because I have lived long enough and seen enough patients to understand how the smallest shift, done with intention, can alter the entire path of a person's health. Especially after 70, when the body begins to show its years more clearly. It no longer recovers the way it once did. Every organ, every heartbeat, every breath is more deliberate. That means we have to be more deliberate too. And if there is one moment in the day when we hold the greatest power to protect or harm ourselves, it is the moment right before sleep. I want to talk to you about the single change I have seen work wonders in the lives of older adults. A change so simple that it is often overlooked. But when practiced consistently, it does something extraordinary. It calms the nervous system. It lowers nighttime blood pressure. It steadies the heart. And more than anything else, it tells the body, you are safe now. You can rest. That change is establishing a calm, screen-free, and mindful bedtime routine. That is it. And I know it might not sound dramatic, but when done with care, it becomes medicine. Real, healing, daily medicine. Because the body is listening all the time, especially when the day ends and the noise fades. Let me explain what happens inside your body when you decide to close the screens. Lower the lights and guide yourself gently into sleep. When you do this, the body shifts out of its stress response. The sympathetic nervous system, which keeps you alert and on edge, slowly gives way to the parasympathetic system. This is the branch of the nervous system that heals. It slows your breathing. It relaxes your muscles. It tells your brain to release melatonin, the hormone that not only brings on sleep but also protects your brain from age-related decline. A study published in the journal Sleep Medicine Reviews in 2020 found that consistent bedtime routines in older adults were strongly associated with better cognitive performance and lower markers of inflammation. That is no small thing. Inflammation is the silent thief of longevity, and the choices you make in the hour before bed determine how much of that inflammation your body produces overnight. I remember a patient, Mrs. Langston, 74 years old. She had high blood pressure, trouble sleeping, and had recently lost her husband. She was doing everything her doctors told her, eating right, taking her medications. But every night she would fall asleep with the television on. She said it helped distract her from the loneliness. But her sleep was light. She would wake up tired. Her blood pressure remained stubbornly high. When we talked, I gently asked her to try something for 1 week. I said, turn off the TV, no screens an hour before bed. Instead, sit in your favorite chair. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Breathe. Light a candle if you want, but no noise, no scrolling, just quiet. She agreed. That first night, she said she felt silly. But by the 3rd night, she felt something shift. Her chest loosened. Her mind calmed. Within 2 weeks, she reported better sleep than she had in years. Within a month, her blood pressure dropped to the lowest it had been in a decade. That is what happens when the body finally gets the deep, undisturbed rest it has been begging for. Science backs this up. The National Institute on Aging published findings showing that older adults who engage in quiet, screen-free activities before bed, such as journaling, listening to soft music, or reading a printed book, experience more restorative sleep, measured by increased time in slow wave and REM sleep stages. These are the phases where the brain clears out metabolic waste, including amyloid plaques, which have been linked to Alzheimer's disease. In other words, your bedtime behavior affects not just how you feel tomorrow morning. It may determine whether your brain stays sharp 5 or 10 years from now. And the beauty of this one change is that it costs nothing. It does not require a prescription. It requires only your willingness to value yourself. To say, I matter enough to give myself peace before sleep. That one act of self-respect can echo through every system in your body. It can stabilize your heart rate, improve your digestion, boost your immune system, and even strengthen your memory. A paper in the Journals of Gerontology found that older adults who practiced consistent, quiet wind-down routines had a 30% lower risk of cardiovascular events over a 5-year period. 30%. That is not just a number, that is years of life. Time with your children, time to hold a grandchild's hand, time to feel the morning sun again and again. But here is the truth. Many people will hear this and still choose not to change. Why? Because it feels too small, too simple. We live in a world that worships the dramatic, but in medicine, it is often the quietest shifts that save lives. So tonight, I want to challenge you. Just tonight, choose a new path. Turn off the phone. Let the news wait. Do not fall asleep to someone else's voice. Find your own rhythm. Maybe light a small lamp, maybe stretch, maybe sit in silence with a warm cup of tea. Let yourself return to the pace of your own breath. Let your heart unwind. Let your mind be still. And if you do this not just once, but every night, your body will thank you. Not loudly, not all at once, but gently. You will wake up with more energy. Your thoughts will feel clearer. Your mood will lift. And somewhere deep inside, your heart will beat just a little more smoothly, a little more confidently, because you gave it what it needed most, a chance to rest, a chance to heal. So yes, one simple change tonight can add years to your life, not because it is magic, but because it honors the one truth I have learned again and again with every patient I have ever treated. The body wants to live. The body wants to heal. All we have to do is stop getting in its way. Let tonight be the beginning of that healing. You are worth it, and it is never too late to give your body the peace it deserves.